What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cool Fred's Garage. It's Cool Fred here. I'm back doing some more content for the 1972 Ford Gran Torino. So I just stopped by Mr. Furlow's to pick up these gauges here, so I can go ahead and get just kind of get a head start on wiring them up. That's just gonna help make the process a little bit more, just make everything flow a little bit better. So when I take them back over there, it'll be ready to basically, kind of install. All I gotta do is just hook up the main wiring. So I'm gonna show you guys what I got going here. All right, so here we go. So as I mentioned a second ago, I went by Mr. Furlow's. That's the owner of the 1972 Ford Gran Torino. So went by, picked these gauges up. These are the Autometer Phantom that I kind of started wiring them up. So basically, so far what I had the oil pressure hooked up, so I just disconnected that right there, and then I got the sensor wire ran for the water gauge. So that's the one all the way over here to the right. So that's it right there. So I kind of mentioned earlier, well, in the last video, or maybe the one before that, I kind of mentioned that, you know, what the IS in the ground mean. So the S stands for sensor, the I is for ignition or voltage, and then the GR or the GND stands for ground. So pretty much a lot of these are straightforward, but pretty much what I decided to bring these home so I can just kind of get them on my workbench. I got my soldering gun out. So I'm about to basically just kind of start making like a little wire harness. So I got to connect the light wires, the wires for the light bulbs. That way when you turn the lights on, they'll glow up and illuminate. So it's a power and ground for that. So the white is the hot and the black is for the ground. So we'll kind of tie these together. I also want to kind of just make it look neat also. So I'm basically gonna get started with that. So so pretty much on the Ford Gran Torino project, some of my videos that I do are like maybe an overview, or maybe just letting you guys just knowing like what I'm working on or what type of work I do and things like that. And then some stuff may be a little bit like how to, like, show you what I'm doing and show you guys how I'm doing what I'm doing from time to time. All right, so I'm just getting out my well, pretty much this box right here has a lot of the wiring and stuff. It's got some extra stuff in here, but most of it is wiring and stuff that I used to build my tail light harness on this car right here. So or what they call it, the I think they refer to it as the rear trunk or the tail wire harness on there. So basically that's a 1973 Chevy Impala, but they do make harnesses, I think, up to a 71. So I probably could have used a 71 harness and maybe modified it a little bit. So what I mean by rear harness, that's like for the tail lights, turn signals, the fuel sending unit and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what this right here is for. But basically what I did, I just removed the harness that was in there and pretty much just kind of, I kind of sketched it, drew it on paper, and then kind of took some measurements and kind of rewired it. And pretty much hand built that harness. So that was most of this stuff. But that's why I got like a lot of this ground wire and stuff like that. So this was like 100 feet of 16 gauge ground wire. So, but I'm getting that out of here, and then I got this red wire here. So basically, I'm getting like most of the wires I'm getting is so I'm getting red. I'm getting red, black, and white for a reason. So pretty much, especially on older classic cars or anything, whether I'm doing like a like a radio head unit or anything like that. So pretty much like over the years, I kind of developed like a kind of like a process or kind of like a way I like to do my wiring. Some guys that do things similar to me, they probably do it a similar way. But I kind of like to use different wire colors. I like to try to match the gauge of the wiring. Well, in this case, it kind of don't matter. I think as long as we're using this is probably at least 18, like 16, 18 gauge anyway. It will tell you sometime on the wiring here. It's got their little rating on there. I'm not sure. Let me see. Sometimes it do tell you. Actually, it's 20 gauge. So, but you can use 16, 18, or I think most of this here is either 16 or 14 gauge wire anyway that I got here. So yeah, all this is pretty much 16 gauge. So it's close enough. But I try to like in this case, they already have white for the light wires, so I like to use something like white for my lights. I'll usually use like red for power, sometimes yellow, it just depends, and usually this brown or black, maybe Gran. A lot of the European and German manufacturers, they like to use brown for ground. Sometimes I use brown for like sensors and like fuel sending units and stuff like that. So it just depends. But this right here is just gonna be pretty simple, but I want to see how I can try to make it neat and make it I guess serve the purpose at the same time. Because on this one, this is going to be kind of off to the passenger side just a little bit. So I kind of measured. I think it's like 3.5 feet from where this is going to be to the fuse box. So I'm probably going to cut like 4 feet of wire just to be safe. And I guess I'm going to make a few connections. I guess I'm going to start with probably the ground. So I need a ground. This is the water temp here. So I need a ground there. It's gonna be a ground for the volt gauge, and so I'm gonna let those share ground. And then once I start hooking these wires up, they're gonna share ground also. So I'm just gonna kind of see how I can get this. Now I'm probably gonna run a combination of these. I gotta look through all my connectors. I got another stash of some stuff too, but connectors, I just gotta see which ones I'm gonna run. But so this stuff here is probably gonna get soldered, and some of this may get soldered also, but mostly I'm gonna try to make connections out of this. I'm gonna show you guys what I come up with. You want to invest in some good quality crimpers, and wire strippers, and stuff like that. So, because basically, anything automotive, but as far as electrical, but as you start working on a lot of these classic cars and stuff, I mean, the wiring in them is a lot of times old and brittle, and a lot of times you have to rewire some stuff and stuff like that. But your tools and your connections that you make on the wiring is going to be it can either help you or hurt you. So pretty much. I guess what I'm trying to say is because I pretty much done been there, done it all. You know what I'm saying? So I've been working on cars since before I can drive, and I also been just kind of, I'm not gonna say I made a whole lot of mistakes, but just starting off, you kind of, like installing car stereos and stuff like that back in the day. You twisting and taping up wires and stuff like that, and you got like your radio turning on and off, in and out, and just things like that. So poor electrical connections and stuff like that can come to bite you later on down the line. So using good butt connectors, having some good tools to crimp your wires and stuff like that is really really what's going to help you out, and also save you a lot of headache and trouble. That's just kind of one reason why I just wanted to just bring this here, put it on the table so I can spend a little time. It's really ain't gonna take me too long to get it kind of wired up, put together. I know I gotta solder some stuff, but I just want to just take a little time to get it all right and secure. That way when it's in there, like, we don't have to worry about no wires and nothing falling out. All right, so what I came up with, this could be right here, the ignition wire. So pretty much what I came up with is, I got my tape measure out. I kind of did a couple little rough estimates, or measurements I should say. So basically I got my tape measure on the table, so I measured my wire out, and then I kind of measured from here to here where that's going to go. And what I kind of decided, because you see some manufacturers, they'll do that, like they'll crimp a couple wires together. So basically this is going to keep me from having to solder two different points. So I'm going to kind of put those together and kind of slide those in here, and I'm actually going to just crimp them together. So I'm going to crimp two wires together, push these in nice and good, make sure they're going in. And I know that's in there, and I'm going to make it crimp. So this right here going to be, these are my mountain. I got this set right here on the tool truck. Y'all can't really see it because it's way over there. You probably can barely see it, but what I like about these is it's got interchangeable pieces right here. So I can crimp insulated and non-insulated, and like I guess barrel type connectors too. It just depends. You probably find something similar to that on Amazon, but I mean it's well worth it. But these are also ratcheting style crimpers. So basically, as you squeeze down the ratchet, and then they open back up. So these right here are really a lifesaver, because I mean you get a real nice solid crimp connection with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing set up. So basically I can get it in there like that, and I just kind of squeeze down on it, and these right there should be in the money. So I got a nice solid crimp on that, and then I'm gonna trim this right here a little bit. So this is the other side. 16 gauge. Now one thing I gotta see, because sometimes like these red connectors may be, but I'm probably gonna use this end right here for the other side. So I mean that's pretty simple, and as you can see, you get real good solid tight connections. And pretty much when I go to wire this up. So basically, this is the main power supply coming in for the ignition source. That's gonna plug in right there, and then I'm gonna let this kind of it's gonna plug in right here. So I've already got that one connection made, and I'm pretty much gonna do the same thing for the ground wire, and then I'm gonna kind of tie these up. So basically, I decided to run two grounds. So I'm gonna run one specifically for the gauge side of things, and then I'm gonna run a separate ground for the lights, and then the lights are gonna have the power source with this white wire. So I'm basically gonna repeat the same process that I did on this red wire with the black wire, make a quick ground, and then when I get ready to solder these up, I'll show you guys what I did. What's up, guys? I'm back. So I'm gonna finish up wiring up these gauges here and show you guys. What I'm doing now is actually wiring up the light circuit. So I've already started. So I got my wires cut and everything. I've already started wiring up the light circuit. So I'm gonna show you guys a few tips on that in a second. So for you guys that are new to the channel, I'm wiring up these. These are the Autometer Phantom gauges. That's going to be going in that 1972 Ford Gran Torino Sport. So if this is y'all first time stopping by, welcome to the channel. My name is Alfred. Some people call me Al, some people call me Fred, but I normally go by Cool Fred. So my Instagram is CoolFred3 with a K. So basically, me wiring up these gauges, this is a part of the 1972 Ford Gran Torino Sport project. So that's a very unique and iconic car. It belongs to one of my dad's good friends. So this gentleman, he's still around and well and doing good, and he basically just needs some help kind of button up a few of the details, getting this thing running, like coolant hoses, fuel pump, and things like that. So basically whatever it's going to take to get this thing fired up and running. So back in 2019, him and his grandson, they took the engine out and did kind of refreshing or small rebuild. They put a roller cam in there, did a few upgrades and things like that. So and of course, you know, 2020 was COVID and all of that thing. So a lot of people, you know, they either got a chance to finish their projects because they had time, or, you know, maybe some other things popped up. He did get sick for a little bit, and was in and out of the hospital for a little bit. And then his grandson graduated high school actually in 2019, and of course with off going to school and then working and things like that, you know, he wasn't able to, but he's had a couple guys to kind of help him along with it, but it's just kind of the point. He just wants somebody, you know, he's known me all my life, but you know, he's know I've been in the cars and I went to school for it and things like that, and you know, he prefers me to work on it and get that thing back up and running. But so that's pretty much the goal, is to get that Ford fired up. So thank you guys for dropping by the channel again. I recommend you subscribe. Please like the videos if you see anything that's helpful. Comment, subscribe. But I want to say, you know, you guys might want to go ahead and subscribe. hit the bell notifications, all that good stuff. Cause we're gonna be firing up that Ford soon. It's a 1972 Ford Gran Torino Sport. It's got a, I guess they refer to that as a big block Ford, a 351 Cleveland, and I mean it's supposed to have a nasty roller cam in there, real nasty. Cause Mr. Furlow, the owner of the car, that's all he brag about. You know what I'm saying? He said he wanted to hear that thing fire up and you know, hitting pretty hard and counting off the licks on that cam. So we all excited about it. I guess right now the car got basically, it's got headers on there, but the exhaust, because of the newer headers that's on there, so he had to take it to the exhaust shop to get the rest of the exhaust done once we get it up and able to drive or whatever. But just starting it up, that thing gonna be almost like you down at the drag strip. Open headers. So when we fire it up, it's definitely gonna kind of startle and wake up some of the neighbors. Well, we're not gonna be doing it like early in the morning, but you know what I'm saying, it's definitely like, you know, their eyes and their ears are gonna be like, you know, what's going on? Like, damn, somebody started up a race car over here. They're gonna be kind of, you know. But yeah, we pretty excited about that. So you guys like the video, subscribe. I know you guys wanna hear that thing start up. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up these gauges and let you guys see how much progress I've made. All right, so as far as these gauges go, what I've decided to do, so far I crumped together the ignition and the ground wire. So basically it's kind of like two connections, but basically this one wire is splitting off into those two connectors, and I showed you guys how I put basically two wires in this one connector and just kind of double crimp them. So that just keeps me from soldering extra wires and things like that. So a lot of manufacturers kind of do that. Like I noticed in some of the ignition boxes, like some of the jumper wires, they'll kind of do this style crimp right here. So the reason for like crimping the wires, we're actually going to solder these other ones here. But what I was talking about earlier, like earlier in the video, when I was saying like, hey, basically, so this right here is a kind of twisted wire method, but I just got them twisted a little tighter. But a lot of times, you know, like when you used to hook up a stereo in your car back in the day, you used to put your two wires together and kind of twist them and just tape them with some electrical tape. So pretty much like for long-term longevity, a long-term reliability, that right there won't cut it. So that don't cut it, because sometimes those wires end up coming apart, causing electrical issues like popping fuses and stuff. And yeah, sometimes you may have, especially on a power wire, like if there's a little bit of a gap or something, you can get arcing. And just a poor connection. And sometimes you have issues with your stereo actually coming on and off and stuff like that. So most professional shops where they're wiring up gauges, stereos, just anything electrical, so that they're gonna either crimp your wires or they're gonna do some soldering and things like that. So this is kind of pretty much how you build something that's gonna be show quality, and it's also gonna hold up and last. All right, so what I'm about to do now is I'm gonna actually kind of start working on the ground wire, and I'm gonna kind of show you guys, because I actually, while I was doing this the other day after I did that, I went on and kind of got a head start on these right here. So so what I'm kind of doing now is, these are the ground wires. So what I decided to do, like on my actual ground connection, because I'm trying to make this look nice and neat under there too. So, all right, so here we go. So basically what I was explaining was what I started off with is got these. So this is pretty much like one of the first connections I made. So the power in the ground harness on the ignition side of the gauges looks like this. So this is, you know, so I got that. So basically the temperature gauge has to be powered up, and also the volt gauge. So basically they're going to share an ignition and are also going to share a ground. I mean, not shares together, but this wire and this wire. So these two separate wires. So they're both crimped very similar. So I basically just crimped two wires to this connector to kind of cut down on, kind of cut and splice and stuff like that. So that's kind of one trick that you can use. Like a lot of people do that with, I guess, jumper wires and things like that they make. I notice a lot of the manufacturers, like for the MSD ignition boxes and also the Summit ignition box, they do something similar. So I can actually show you guys one of those style connectors and you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, here we go. So this is an example of a wire connector that basically came in a I want to say it was a Summit ignition box, so where you can supply power ground to one area and feed it out to two different things to make a couple of connections. So this is pretty much a common way to kind of put two wires. It's very acceptable to put two wires in a connector and get them together like that. So that's one kind of fast method that you can use to kind of just cut down on having to add extra butt connectors and splices and things like that. Now if you had to put three wires together, you know what I'm saying, it gets a little bit more tricky, but you know, in the case of two wires, that's working out just fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this hook back up in the manner that I had it real quick. So what I'm working on now is the light circuit. So I'm just gonna kind of put that down there just to make it nice and neat. So there it goes. So that's clicked in nice and good, nice, sturdy, firm connections right there. So I mentioned I was gonna solder these two. So I got 3 bulbs. So there's 3 bulbs. So I tied these two together. And I tied this last one here, that last one, I tied this one to the main supply wire. So this is our wire right here that's gonna give us the power to turn on the lights. And this over here is the ground. So I'm pretty much gonna kind of come in and wire these up in a similar fashion, but just to kind of make them nice and neat. I'm gonna shorten them up a little bit. So it's a hot one. So basically I'm just gonna cut these down just so it's not like too much hanging down or whatever. Kind of about right in here. Kind of similar to what I did over there with that bulb. So I'm probably gonna just kind of cut those off. Now when I'm twisting, or when I'm trying to put like for soldering, I'm gonna cut these wires extra long. So maybe about an inch. So I got this slider thing in here. It says about an inch and probably about an inch and an eighth, about where that's at. So usually it's like slid up here, but you know, I slide it down a little further so I can get the wires, so I can expose my wire a little longer. So so that's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna come in here like that and just kind of twist these together. But while I'm twisting, I'm kind of pulling them so they kind of be like nice, tight, and snug. And so those two are together, and this right here, this is gonna kind of be coming in here too, tying in there. So also got a cutter right here on the end of right there. So I'm gonna trim this one up just a little bit so I can pull those wires in a little tighter. And I'm gonna cut this right here long too for that third bulb. Actually, I may go just a tad bit more. Shoot off just a little bit more. And then I got my roll of wire here. I got my tape measure down here so I can put this kind of right here and I can pretty much measure out from you. So pretty much I'm going like 4 feet. I won't need that much in the car to get to the fuse box, but I kind of cut get my wire cut to the length that I need. And I'm gonna do the same right here. So, and for that last gauge, I'm gonna tie this right here around there. And what I'm gonna do, so I don't get like any extra solder or whatever on the gauges, I'm just gonna remove the bulbs out of here. So they pretty much just have I guess a quarter twist out. So basically I left them in there so I could, and as you can see, these are the 2 bulbs here that are together. And then this is my last one with the supply in the ground over here. So I'm kind of going, just kind of move this off to the side there. All right, so another thing I use from time to time, I like so that the wires are kind of fixed together. I kind of use like maybe this magnifying glass. I may not need the magnifying glass, but mostly I like these little clips right here that can help me hold the wires while I solder them. And then to prevent from like kind of, because I got this is just cardboard here, then I got wood up under there, but just basically kind of keep the solder from going everywhere and making a mess, I usually put like a little small magnetic tray or something up under the area that I'm soldering. So basically I kind of slide this down over there. So even though this is gonna be soldered together or whatever, I mean, you can use electrical tape there too after you solder it, but the heat shrink, I like that a lot better because it's gonna shrink down and it's gonna make it nice and neat. It's just gonna be nice and neat when you're done with it. So typically what I do is just basically just kind of, it's almost like I'm just gonna kind of start off with an X and just kind of twist these together. And I try to see if I can get it as tight as possible. Sometimes it don't work out like that, but yeah, when I get them kind of joined together, a little something like that, then I'm just gonna position that and solder that together right there. So I'm gonna solder that connection right there together. I gotta remember how to work this thing. I gotta figure out press and hold this. So I got an adjustable solder gun. So I like this right here because it can maintain and keep a constant temperature. Like the ones that you just kind of plug in, and once they get hot, sometimes they get too hot where they melt the solder too much, or like when you first plug them in, they don't get hot enough, so you constantly gotta plug and unplug it. Something like this here, you just go ahead and you set it to where you want it. And once it reaches the temperature, this is in Celsius. I forgot what a sweet spot is for it. I want to say between like 345 and 350 Celsius. But once it kind of get to a good temperature, like you see right now, it's already smoking. But basically, it's gonna maintain that temperature, and it kind of make it easy. And it also came with this I forgot the brand of this one, but I got it on Amazon. So you just search for adjustable temperature soldering gun. So this will help me out with my tail light harness on my Chevys. So that's pretty much hot. You kind of try to move these out of the way just a little bit. So I got this rosin flux paste here. So that's some pretty good solder flux. And see if I can get the bad boy open. I'm kind of stuck. So once I open this up, you can get these brushes anywhere. I think they sell them online too. They normally come in a 2 or 5 pack or something like that. So I'm just gonna try to just gently put a little paste on the wires.
I did wet my sponge. I might need to wet some more. I did wet the sponge. So, main thing with this stuff is kind of just getting organized and stuff like that. So, you're prepping. I might go up on my temperature just a little bit. So I got it at 350. You can see this adjustable solid gun. It's pretty easy to use. I'll probably put the moment back to the other side to see a bit. There we go. So that one. And right there, ready to roll. And then last stuff, but I'm gonna slide this heat shrink over there. Something like that there. And then I'm gonna break out my heat gun. There we go. So you can see right there, that looks nice and neat. And that's kind of what you want, something nice and neat. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the ground wire, and I'll show you guys what it look like, and then we're gonna test it out, make sure that is working. So we'll test the gauges and the lights.
All right, so here we go. Here go the finished product right here. So, got the power wires ran for the ignition. When you turn the ignition on, that's the red wire. Got the ground. So, and then that's gonna power up the gauge side of things. This is the voltmeter, so it's gonna read whatever voltage that's there. And this right here is the water temperature gauge down here on the end. So all I gotta do is hook that sensor wire up right there, which is that gray wire that we ran. I guess that was in, I think that's part 4, day 4 of the Ford Torino build. So that's that, and pretty much when I get it to the car, I just gotta hook up. As far as these wires that's going to the fuse box, I just got to hook up the sensor wire there and the oil pressure line back there, because this is a mechanical oil pressure gauge that uses the oil pressure line. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and test this bad boy out. That way there ain't no surprises when I get ready to hook it in. We're gonna test it, make sure it's working. So we're basically testing. We're gonna be testing the water and the voltmeter. I'm not sure if this one is going to move any. It may move some, but it's not going to be accurate because the sensor is not there. But we should see the voltage gauge move, and then when I power on the lights, we should see the lights come on. Testing this out with this power probe here. So I'll be connecting the power and the ground to this bad boy right here. So stay tuned. Here go the lights. So You guys probably can't see it real good, but it has like a green backlit cover. They probably look a little white on these gauges here. So, but that's what it's gonna look like when the lights come on. All right, so here we go. So I'm on the ground in the voltage line for the ignition circuit, and you can see the water gauge jumps a little bit, but it jumps to its base, which is 100 amps. So, and you can see the battery that I got, it's got around 12 volts. So there we go. We got that. And then if I connect my light wire in conjunction with all this, let me see, is it enough to actually, there we go. So we got voltage and we got our lights. And the water temp will go to its, it moves a little bit. And then actually once the sensor wire gets going and the temperature raises, that will reflect the actual temperature of the vehicle. So thank you guys for checking out Cool Fred's Garage. Please like, subscribe, and check out some of the other videos I got. So this right here is a part of that the Ford Gran Torino Sport build right here. So these gauges are going in there. We're getting close to getting that thing fired up and running. So you guys stay tuned. Thanks for watching and see you next time.